Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be why smothering, approval seeking behavior turns women off. I've got an email. I don't know how long this particular guy has been following my work, but he's pretty familiar with it. He says he lost his virginity to this particular girl that he's been dating. He says, thanks to 3% Man. He's been seeing her for about 3 months, and you can tell when I go through the email, and he even admits at the end that he's very needy, very insecure, very approval seeking. And what I liked about this email and why I chose to go through it is just because you could see the mindset and how this guy's mindset and the fact that he's kind of in a way smothering her, whether he realizes it or not, because she's starting to lose attraction. Because initially she was like, hey, when are we going to go out? And now he notices that there's less enthusiasm. But you can tell the tone of his email, he's just totally focused on does she like me? I hope she likes me. I hope she chooses me. Which, if that's your mindset, that's going to slip out. She can tell, eventually all women are going to be able to tell, the longer they're with you, that you're more into them than they are into you. And when women sense that, they naturally, instinctively kind of back off a little bit. And when guys that don't know any better feel that, they tend to pursue and try harder. So with that said, let's go through his email, because this kind of mindset is what causes us guys to just really screw up and chase women out of our lives, especially women that are good for us, good to us, good for our soul, because we don't know any better. Because what happens is you constantly are communicating, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve you, you're going to find somebody else. And eventually, she's going to agree, and she will. You got to remember, when women first start dating a guy, they're like, is he good for me? Is he a good fit? Do I like him? And I've said this over the years many times, is guys should adopt the same kind of mindset. Do I like her? Is she good for me? Are we good together? Do I trust her? Is she trustworthy? Is she normal? Is she healthy? Does she come from a good family? Is she good to me, good for me, good for my soul? Is she easygoing, easy to get along with? Does she communicate well? Or is she a hothead and difficult and passive aggressive? So he says, hi, Coach. I've been dating a girl for almost 3 months already, and I lost my virginity to her, all thanks to your material. So you are my savior. Like, I appreciate that, but you got to save yourself, dude. Nobody's coming to save you or fix you or solve your problems. She has tennis training sessions 2 times a week, while on weekends she is with her family at their apartment. After training sessions, she is exhausted, and when we are together, she's barely staying awake. Well, I probably wouldn't be hanging out with her on the days that she's exhausted if you're trying to have a date and she's passing out on you. Hang out, have fun, hook up. It's not hang out, watch her fall asleep, and then not hook up and get blue balls. He says, so I decided to skip those days because they rarely seem to be a fun opportunity for stuff to happen, as she'd rather just sleep. Well, let your girl get her beauty rest. You got to look at this girl in your life as a benefit, like a nice hot fudge sundae every once in a while. It's great if she's there, and if she's not, you're actually more productive and you get a lot of things done. You shouldn't be going, oh, I wonder what she's doing. Where's she at? Who's she with? Is she thinking about me? Does she like me? Does she want me to be her boyfriend? Are we going to get married? Are we going to move in together? You'll see like all these kinds of things are going on with this dude. Occasionally, she would tell me that she is not available on one of those work days because she hangs out with her friends. You should be like, hey, I want to see you, babe. What's your schedule like this week? What are you available? Instead of trying to zero in and, oh, let's see each other today. So I would say from that perspective, just on that sentence alone, you're not really following what's in the book. When I consider my schedule, which means working long hours, that leaves us approximately 2 to 3 times a week to get together. So the reality is, and as I talk about in the book, is when a woman falls in love with you and you guys become exclusive, she's going to be at your house or you're going to be at hers. And so you'll be typically waking up together. But you'll see there's a few wrinkles in that with this particular guy. There are three main questions, or these are the main questions on my mind, so I'd really appreciate your comments on the topics below. Number one, now keep in mind, what does the book say? Hang out, have fun, hook up. Doesn't say anything about a relationship, doesn't say anything about locking the girl down. It's not your job. I would like to spend more time with her as I am really interested in long-term relationship with her. This is feminine energy, dude. You're basically saying, hey, Corey, how can I better act like a woman? Feminine energy is bonding, connecting, opening up to receive love, dating, relationship labels. What are we? Where is this going? There's nothing masculine about that. So you're acting like a chick right now. Of course, I don't say this to her because it is needy, and I let her come to that feeling at her pace. I know that's what you're telling yourself, but you're actually not. She's living alone, and I still live with my parents, so we can only sleep at her place. She says this is okay to her, but I see that she is uncomfortable when I mention spending the night at my place, which I understand completely, and I stop suggesting that. Is this a deal breaker long term? Well, if you're thinking long-term relationship, you still live at home with your parents, even though, as you say, you work long hours. At some point as a man, you got to have your own space. I mean, if you guys are in your 20s and she's got her own apartment and you live with your mom and dad still, it's understandable why she's not going to want to come over and spend the night at your place, and then your parents are listening to the wall hearing you guys bumping uglies in the room next door. It's like, that's common sense. I mean, you can at least afford a small efficiency or one-bedroom apartment or something. Just something to get your own space and be a man of your own castle and kingdom. So the other thing is you want a woman to trust your leadership and follow you. At some point, you got to be able to show that you're a competent man yourself, and being able to have your own place, your own home. It doesn't have to be huge, but it could be an efficiency. It could be a one-bedroom. Just as long as it's decorated nicely and it's clean and you got your shit together. You show that you're a competent man and you're smart and you're frugal with your money. You don't piss it away trying to impress people that don't fucking matter anyways. Number two, I initiate texting with her 2 times a week max, usually some random and short, to let her know that I care about her. Number three, I let her text the remaining days. This tells me you're kind of being robotic when you're counting things like this. Just the mindset, just the way you're being, because everything you're doing is like you're focused on how do I manipulate her into doing what I want? How do I get her to like me more? The mindset that you have is the complete opposite of what the book teaches. This is why you're struggling. He says, she usually texts me at least once a day, usually something random and funny. And when she texts me, I immediately try to set a date. So far, her responses are fine, meaning that she will tell me which day she is free so I can pick a day. Number 4, I never let our text exchanges go longer than a couple of texts, and I usually keep it playful, referring to something funny which happened on our date, for example. Number 5, she really likes to joke that I have another girl. I said, babe, but you're my number 1. Once she told me that she is afraid from the fact that she is my first girlfriend and that as soon as I get bored or gain more experience, I will leave her. Well, that's an understandable fear. But it shouldn't cause you to try to prove yourself to her. Number 6, at the beginning of our relationship, she was more into me. For example, she would ask, when are we getting together? Lately, she doesn't do that. So I ask her when she is available as soon as she reaches out. This worries me a bit because anxiously attraction is getting lower. If it's getting lower, you're spending too much time together. You're trying too hard to get her to like you more. I mean, this whole email is about, hey, Corey, what can I do to get her to like me more? How about read the book 10 to 15 times? How about maybe you get a second job? And then you get a second job so you can earn some extra money so you can get yourself an apartment. So you can show that you're a competent man. Number 7, she mentions her male friends and colleagues. I understand that some of them are married and taken, but it just seems to me that there are way too many of them, and sometimes I wonder if any of them is actually an orbiter or an ex or the guy who pursues her. Well, that tells me that you don't really know her that way. It's only been 3 months, but you don't really know enough about her life, and yet you're all focused on, how do I lock this girl down? How do I get her to like me more? It's a wrong mindset. You should have the attitude of, hey, I'm kind of a free agent. Unless you're, I don't know if you're exclusive, because it doesn't really say. It just says you've been dating her for 3 months. So he says, obviously, you may have sensed from my email that I am needy, insecure, and overthinking. Yeah, you're trying to micromanage everything. You need some hobbies. You need to spend some time with your friends. And if you notice that she's less excited to see you than she was before, then when she does reach out, and if you every single time she reaches out, you ask her for a date, then next time she reaches out, don't ask her for a date. If you see each other 2 to 3 times a week, be okay with seeing her 1 time per week. Scarcity creates value. Less is more. And if you're trying to spend more time with her than she's open to spending time with you, then she has all the power and you're in a weak position of leverage and you need to back off. You've already said yourself that you're needy, you're insecure, and you're overthinking. And if you bottom line her actions, and as you said, she seems to be less into it, then you need to mirror that behavior. If you normally see each other 2 to 3 times a week, I would only set 1 date that particular week and be okay with it. And if her attitude doesn't change, then only see her once the next week. And she'll start to feel that you're spending less energy on her. And then she'll start to wonder why, and she'll try harder. She'll reach out and contact you more. If you're always contacting her a couple times a week through text, either only contact her once or don't contact her at all if she's texting you every day. Wait a week to contact her once. If you're normally initiating 1 or 2 texts out of the blue, don't initiate any out of the blue and initiate one next week. Become a little unpredictable. But you're noticing that she's putting less effort into you than she was in the past. And it's correct, her interest has gone down. Probably because you're smothering, you're over pursuing too much, you're coming off as needy, you're coming off as unsure of yourself. And the fact that you want to spend more time with her than she's willing to make time in her schedule for you, probably you're letting it be known that you're irritated just in things you say, maybe the tone of your voice. She could sense and feel that. And so what happens is you're becoming perturbed that she's not more into you than she should be. And you got to look at that is that you have to let women come to you at their pace. And if you're focused on trying to lock her down and when you're going to move in together and when it's going to get more serious and all that, that mindset is not going to help you. It's going to actually cause you to sabotage things and just literally drive her and chase her right out of your life. He says, to be honest, that is my nature. In other words, being needy, insecure, and overthinking. And sometimes I am dying when the afternoon or night comes and I still haven't received a message from her. Well, that tells me you definitely need to back off and that you're calling and texting too much and you're too worried about her and what she thinks about you. Instead of having the attitude of, let her win me over. You should be cool with just seeing her 1 time a week, especially if she's not excited about it and she's not making room in her schedule. He says, of course I keep my mouth shut and act like I'm indifferent, but man, it hurts to have that battle ongoing all the time in your mind and body. Well, this is called growing up, and this is pain. Pain, as they say, is weakness leaving the body, and that is weakness leaving your body. And the only thing that really undoes that and that mindset is successful repetitions of the new way, of being the new way I talk about in my book. And you definitely need to back off and let her come to you more. Like I said, you're worried. You're spending 2 or 3 days a week, and you want to spend more, but actually, based on her behavior, I'd be spending a little less so she can have time to miss you more. He says, my question is, in our current dating dynamics, 2 to 3 dates per week, is this enough to get this to a higher level? Well, again, everything is you're focused on what can I do to make her like me more, as opposed to bottom lining your actions and looking at the fact that she's not as into you as she was just a short time in the past. So that means you're too focused on and smothering her and too worried about what she thinks about you. This shows that you're perturbed as a man. And if you're getting perturbed, When a woman senses that you're perturbed and you're upset or you're butthurt or that you're not spending time around her, that you're angry for something, this is going to turn her off. It's not going to attract her to you. It's going to show her that you're losing your shit just because of little things that she does. You're supposed to be the rock. You're supposed to be the mountain. You're supposed to be the unperturbable man. How can I make this relationship successful, save it, and make her consider getting this to a higher level? Dude, come on, man. I can't believe you asked me that. It's in the book. These are basic things that are in the book. And you're probably, I don't even know if you've even read the book. You're probably just cherry picking and being lazy. And that's not what competent men do. That's what lazy failures do. If you want to have some of those emails or there's a lot to come on, mans, because the guy didn't listen, it's guys that are behaving the way you do are the ones that don't follow the instructions. And then they're shocked that things don't work out. But you're basically asking me the most basic questions that are in the book. And again, you're asking about the relationship. It's a woman's department. Your job is just to create the next opportunity for sex to happen. Hang out, to have fun, to hook up. So he says, for example, the higher level, he wants to move in together someday. It's like, you don't even know this girl yet. You don't even know all of her friends or her family. You don't know these dudes that are in her life that she talks about. You don't know if they're male orbiters or they're just coworkers. You don't know her well enough to know if she'd even be good enough to live with. It's too soon, man. You're the woman in the relationship. You don't even realize it. I know that you may use your come on man mug right now, but please help. It's like you got to participate in your own rescue, dude. You got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. And your mindset and your behavior, you're literally going to chase this girl out of your life and turn her off completely if you don't knock this shit off. It's not attractive. Lose yourself in your hobbies, your interests, hang out with your friends, your family, maybe get another job so you can focus on moving out and getting an apartment on your own. You got to focus on taking care of you first. And right now, it's like you're trying to be the chick to your potential girlfriend. And that's ruining the sexual polarity. And I can tell by the fact that she's starting to back off more that you're actually turning her off with this behavior and this mindset. And the fact that you don't understand the book. You're making mistakes and you're turning her off and you don't even realize what you're doing wrong. I mean, asking how to get her to fall in love. I mean, these are like the most basic questions that are answered in the book. If you're asking me that, that tells me you either haven't read the book or you just skimmed over it and you're half-assing it, figuring this video, one video is going to solve everything for you. That's just, it doesn't work that way. You've gotten some attainable success, but it's not going to be sustainable. Right now, my prediction, if you don't learn and read the book 10 to 15 times, you're going to turn this girl off and she's going to friend zone you and not want to date you anymore. That's your future if you don't turn things around. So I know you're feeling pretty uneasy about things, but that's because you don't know the material. You don't know what to do. You're not in your masculine, you're in your feminine, you're totally unsure of yourself, you're acting girly, you're not acting manly at all. You're not a man of mystery. You're not the guy that she's dying to spend more time with. It's the complete opposite. The power dynamic is completely the opposite of the way it's supposed to be in order for her to trust your leadership and your masculine core. So you need to focus more on you and taking care of you and becoming a more competent man that has his own place, that pays his own bills, that has hobbies, that has interests, and has friends outside of his potential girlfriend. Instead of focusing and hovering on her and trying to get her to like you. This approval-seeking behavior is disgusting to women. It's a complete turnoff. So you need to turn things around, dude. Otherwise, you're going to drive this girl right out of your life. So if you got a question or a challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.